let me move on. I ended up living with my father in grade 10, and my mother couldn't handle me because when I was on these drugs, the paint and varnish remover, I'd be really, really nasty to her, like just total personality change. So she calls my father and says, if you don't take your son, I'm sending him to an orphanage. You make the call, Frank. And to my shock, he took me in. And I was grateful. I was like trying to always be perfect for my dad so that he wouldn't get rid of me. And so I would do really well in school. I would excel in music. I would excel in everything. If Dad was good in math, then I would try to do good in math. I just wanted to be like my dad because he was drinking a lot. And remember, alcoholics and addicts, we play the victim and we blame everyone around us for why our life sucks. So some of you kids have parents, I know it, that are blaming you for, and they're just nagging you and blaming you and saying nasty stuff to you like that you do not deserve. And I want you to know it's not true what they're saying to you, and they know no better. People that are addicted and alcoholic, they play the victim and they have to blame everyone. And that's what my father did. One day he was calm. He was drinking like normal, but it was a calm day. He wasn't angry. I actually felt safe in this brief moment with him. And he said something to me that I allowed to totally alter my life. He didn't do it, I did. He said something, and I made it totally alter my life, and I caused myself to become a drug addict from one thing he said. And here's what he said. He said, son, I could have been this. I had dreams when I was 20 years old. I was going to go to university, get a degree. I was going to own my own business. I was going to make lots of money. He was telling me all his dreams. And then he said, but on the day you were born, son, that was the day my dreams died. Now, I use this as my excuse to play the victim for the rest of my life and destroy my life. Do you think every single human being that is abused, is treated like crap, do they all turn out to be drug addicts like me, yes or no? No. So clearly it's not about, I'm a victim to it. It was in my genes. Some doctors think that it's in the genes. Many doctors now do not believe it's in the genes. We always have a choice. Just because your father was alcoholic doesn't mean you have to be one. It's not in the genes. It's always a choice. And the problem is, here's the choice I made. My father said, on the day you were born, son, that was the day my dreams died. I didn't have the knowledge to understand that all alcoholics and addicts will blame you for their problems. So I just thought what he said was true. And I shaped my life. I shaped myself. The choices I made were ultimately my own responsibility, Eleanor Roosevelt. Here's the choice I made. If my dad's dreams didn't come true because of me, how dare I have my dreams come true? It wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be fair. So I'm living this weird life where I'm always trying to prove myself to the world by excelling, making lots of money, doing well in school, being a musician, being on stage, trying to be a rock star, just trying to do anything I can to have people like me and to ultimately earn, my parents' approval, my father's approval. And I'm being successful, but then I'll always sabotage it because I don't want to be too successful because it wouldn't be fair based on my belief that I destroyed my dad's life. So I got low self-esteem, as you can tell. And when it's someone with low self-esteem that is scared, that doesn't know how to talk to people, and doesn't like themselves, they do a drug like alcohol, and it makes them feel better. When that drug wears off, do they feel the same as they did before, or a little worse? A little worse, that's right. So if you feel a little worse, aren't you going to do a little more? And then you feel even worse. This is how people get addicted. They go for the drug, for the food, for the sugar, for the gambling, for the internet, for the sex, for the relationships, for whatever they're going for to get a relief. But then when they get it, it's not satisfying. Some of us go, I used to do this, if I find that woman, the one that's the real one for me. And I'd find lots of them. But then after a little while, I'd still hate myself. And I would think it was her fault. So I try one drink, and boom, I'm hooked. And for me, it was the gateway to cigarettes, to marijuana, to mushrooms, to whatever I could get my hands on to try to feel better. How many of you know you'd never do crack cocaine, heroin, crystal meth, or hardcore drugs? Like you know you'd never do the hardcore drugs. Just raise your hand. Thanks. So the rest of you, you know you're going to be doing crack, right? Okay, I'll take that out of the space. That's okay. But what I want to share with you is because I'm about to tell you how I got addicted to crack cocaine. And it's the same story as to how I got addicted that I've seen anyone else get addicted to the hard drugs. Remember, we're victims, right? It was an accident. It wasn't my fault that I got addicted to crack. It wasn't my fault. That's what every single hardcore drug addict feels like when I first meet them, that it was an accident. But here's what happened. They didn't like themselves, so they turned to these other addictions like pot, marijuana, or whatever, and then eventually that's not working, and then they try something harder. I've never met a crack addict that said, while everyone else was drinking alcohol, smoking a little herb, I just thought I'd go straight to the crack pipe. That's never anyone's story. It starts from these other things. That's me in university, and I look like a party guy. I look like someone you'd never think would get hooked on crack and destroy their life. I did it in 2 weeks. I'm trying to find some marijuana, can't find any. Some guy gives me a joint, puts a little cocaine in it, and it's like, woo, this is what I've been looking for. It was like the best high I've ever had. But then when you're that high and it wears off, you got the equal lows, and I'm almost crying. I've got this feeling that I can only describe as evil, like this desperation and I don't even know how to describe it. All I know is I need more now, right now, fast, desperately. So the guy comes back, and he gives me crack. And I try it, and within 2 weeks of being in university, just as during the spring break, the March break, within 2 weeks, I've lost everything. The government gave me a 100% scholarship to go to university for music. I spent it all in 2 weeks. I'm talking the tuition, the living expenses, the books, everything gone. And then I had a little recording studio that I was building throughout the years, and I was pawning off pieces, giving them to the crack dealers so I could stay high for another 12 minutes or so. $500 reverb unit I would trade in for 12 more minutes, for 40 more minutes of rock. Eventually I get arrested in a crack house all in the same 2 weeks by a SWAT team just like that. Guys with poles on it, 6 of them. They come in and arrest me. And I swear I'm never going to do this again. And I say, thank you, God, in my heart. I'm like, this must have been a God intervention because I couldn't stop.